Alright, now that we're ready for powder, again, the powder that I'm using for my 44 Magnum load that we're working up today is going to be H110. Just take it, your powder, and pour it into your powder measure. Just pour however much you think you're going to need. You know, you can always empty it out. The next thing that you need to do is make sure that your scale's zeroed. Now, I like to use the balance beam scales. I'm not too fond of digital scales. It seems like they're a little touchy. But you need to zero it out. Let me change it back. Make sure all your numbers are set on 0. And you can see there that I've got it zeroed out. The camera angle might look like it's a little low, but it's zeroed out. With it zeroed out, you'll then want to put the powder weight on there that you want to be measuring for, and we're going to be using 23 grains. So 23.0. And that's how you get your balance beam scale set up. If you're using a digital scale, you'll just press the 0 button on it if you choose to use a digital scale. Your powder measure, I've already fiddled with it and got it throwing almost the charge weight that we need. And what you want to do is hold the tray all the way up to the bottom of it, raise it, and then lower the tray away from it. If you just hold it down there at the bottom and drop the charge in the pan, powder's going to spill everywhere and it'll be a mess for you. So then you just take the tray, set it on your scale. Let me zoom in for you. As you can see, that one is just a little bit low. So what you want to do is use your powder trickler and spin it, and it'll drop minute amount of powder in it as you're spinning it. Just a few grains at a time. You can use it to get just exactly how much powder you need. You can see there, we're pretty much spot on the money. With it spot on, you'll take your powder funnel in whatever case you're putting it in, and again, I've got all my primed ones down here. I'm going to move this one up to the top, put my powder funnel on it, and then pour the powder in there, making sure that everything falls in. And there's your case with the powder in it, ready to go. And again, just repeat it, the process, filling up all your cartridges. Again, it's a little low. We'll trickle some powder out. And get it throwing just the right amount that we need. And move it up to the top so that I know that that case is full of powder. You can fiddle with the powder measure and get it to where it's throwing just almost exactly however much you need. You know, if you're reloading 100 cases or, 200, whatever you're doing, just fiddle with it. Where I'm just loading 5 for the video, I'm not going to tinker with it. I'll just trickle it out and mess with it later. If you do get it to the point where you do know that the powder measure is throwing the right charge weight all the time and you're comfortable with it, what you can then do is just take the case, hold it to the bottom of the powder measure, and dump the charge in there. But since I know my loads are a little light, I'm not going to do that. That's just what you can do once you dial that in and get it throwing the right amount. Alright, with powder in the cases, the next step is going to be to seat the bullet on top, and for that you'll need your seating die. To adjust it, screw it on there, and with revolver cartridges you're going to use a roll crimp. And roll crimping, seating and crimping is going to be done in two separate steps with the same die. So what you want to do is just screw your expander ball or your seater down a little ways. Take a bullet in your case and you want to run it up in there. And you should be able to feel that the bullet met the top of the seater die. And you can see here that it seated the bullet just a little ways. Now what you're going to want to do is screw the die down just a little ways, and it's going to be trial and error. Screw it down, raise it up, and you can see we seated the bullet just a little bit farther. When you get it close to where you need to start doing fine adjustments, you'll want to lock that locking ring down. So I'm just going to get it a little bit closer. And that's about close enough there. You can see we're getting close to the channel which will be where the roll crimp will hold on to the bullet. And we'll talk about crimping just a little bit more later. Okay? So with it that close, raise it all the way up and set that lock ring. Now what I want to do is I want to take my calipers and I want to measure the bullet length, the cartridge overall length. And we're sitting at 1.631. And we want to get it down to about 1.6 is what the load recipe says that I'm using. So now for our fine adjustment, we'll screw down the top here and just screw it in. And again, it's just a little bit at a time. Put it in there, look at it, measure it. Okay, and you can see there, I just screwed it in just a little bit too far. We're about 7 thousandths of an inch too deep, which isn't too much of a problem. You know, I'll just set that one aside, screw it out a little ways, and we'll seat the next bullet. And every time you see the bullet, you want to look down in there and verify that you do have powder. The last thing you want to do is load up a bullet that doesn't have any powder in it and not get as big a bang as you thought you were going to get. Alright, so we'll measure this one. And this one is just 2 thousandths over. And for me, that's close enough. With pistols, I'm not really worried when you get down to the thousandths of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise it all the way up in there and lock my locking ring so my settings won't change. And now you just run through the rest of them. I like to check the first couple just to make sure I'm getting the same readings. You know, that one right there reads that I'm 1 thousandth over. So, you know, I'm close enough. You know, sometimes there's a little bit of variation on the edge of the bullet where you're measuring. So, you know, that's close enough for me. Yeah, and that last one that we just seated is 1 thousandths too deep. So you know, we're close enough for pistol bullets that it's going to be good. Now crimping is the last step that we're going to do, and you probably can't see it very well, but you can feel it, that it's still flared a little ways on the case mouth. And especially when you start dealing with Magnum Revolver cartridges, the other bullets in the cylinder, when the gun recoils, that bullet's going to try to jump out. You know, as the cylinder goes back, that bullet's going to try to stay where it is. And sometimes if you don't have tight enough crimp, or if you don't have any crimp at all, the bullet will jump the crimp and actually come out of the case, which is not something that you want to have happen. You know, it'll start to change your case length. You'll get erratic pressure readings, and it just won't be good. On the RCBS dies, the crimp is built into the die. So as you can see here, I'm unscrewing everything. And I like to take the cedar just all the way out. Back off your locking ring a little ways. Take one of your cases and run it back up in there. And screw down the body of the die. You'll feel some resistance, but you'll be able to feel the resistance when it stops. You know, right there, I can't twist it anymore unless I, you know, break out He-Man strength. So that right there, you know that the top of that case has reached the little machined in portion of the die to where it'll start rolling that edge in. So you just want to twist it just a little ways, roll it back in there, and then pull it out and look at it. And you can feel it start to take it out. But we don't have enough crimp right there yet. So just turn it a little ways, and again, just go a little bit at a time. And you'll start to feel it, and you'll start to see it where it rolls it in a little ways. You know, and there we're starting to get a little bit of the crimp rolling in. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. Maybe if I compare it to one that we already have. You know, you can see the difference there where it's rolled it in just a little ways versus that one right there we haven't done any crimp on yet. Now, how much crimp should you put on it? Well, it depends on the cartridge. On a 44 Magnum, I would have, you know, a decent crimp. Again, with the gun recoiling, you don't want it to start playing around with your seating depth. Just give it a little bit more. And that's probably plenty. Raise it back up in there, set your locking ring. And again, I'll show you for comparison. That one has not been crimped yet, and that one has. And you can see how the edges are rolled in and, you know, holding tightly against that channel lure. Okay. So now it's just same thing as usual. Just run through the ones that you already have. Well guys, there you go. I showed you how to reload some pistol cartridges for revolver. We'll get to another video and do some semi-automatic pistol cartridges. Some of you might be thinking that single stage press is pretty slow and, you know, take you forever to load bullets, but in actuality it doesn't take you all that long. What takes you the longest is getting all your dies set to the right you know, settings and everything. And once you lock them down and set the locking ring on it, you know, you need to check it the next time you load it, but most of the time they return pretty much to the same settings, so you save a lot of time on setup that way. There's a couple other little tips and tricks I'll show you later on how to speed it up, but you know, I loaded up, you know, other rounds too for it. It doesn't really take all that long to do, but here's the 44 Magnum that we'll be shooting it out of. It's my Colt Anaconda. I love this pistol. Try to get out to the range and do a video show me shooting it, so you guys can see what all this hard work paid off for. But I hope y'all enjoy it. If you have any questions or anything about any parts of the video, you know, don't be afraid to ask. I can break it out into another video, or you know, just answer your question in the comments section. I love helping people out, so don't be scared to ask me any questions at all. I hope you enjoy. You know, like it if you want. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my videos so you don't miss out in the future. Thank y'all.